Hi there, it's Tim with Far North Magic. Today I just want to take a look at the first look at Magic the Gathering Fallout. So it's the next Universes Beyond. And I really wasn't expecting anything until like the new year for this because this doesn't come out till March 8th. But I guess they're looking to get the hype machine going for a product that doesn't come out for almost 5 months. But I guess if they get the hype machine going, they might be able to get better supply ready. So instead of like the Doctor Who, they didn't have enough in theory. Although it seems like Amazon's getting a bunch, so that's kind of another one of these rug pulley type things, but just is what it is. I'm not really surprised that they try and keep more money for themselves. So we're going to be looking at the info that they gave us for Fallout. So I've never played the game, so I don't really know anything about the characters or anything. Other than the odd time they'd put like some code for more some sort of bonus on a bag of chips or something. Um, but beyond that, I don't know anything about the game. I know a few people seem pretty excited about it, and I find that they spend a lot of time on the Universes Beyond, and they've done a pretty good job with the decks. So it's somewhat more exciting to for these decks because they got a bunch of new designs, and then they seem to put some decent reprints in. So we're getting a similar lineup to the Doctor Who, which probably will be decent if they didn't want to do a full set. So we're getting 4 commander decks, and then we're also getting collector boosters. So we got Scrappy's Survivors as the Naya deck. So I guess this one has Dogmeat as your commander, and some scavenging tools, food, and allies. Includes junk as a new mechanic. So here's Dogmeat Ever Loyal. So when it comes into play, enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return aura or equipment. When a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, create junk. So junk seems to be an interesting thing, where you can maybe save up your junk and then have a really big turn. Does help with the mill to get an actual target, so that might not be too bad. Again, I think these cards are pretty solid designs at least. And then we got Mutant Menace as the black, green, and blue deck. So looks like we have a Mothman, the Wise Mothman. Whenever it enters or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. When one or more non-land cards are milled, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X creatures. whereas X is the number of non-land cards milled. Holy cow, that could get pretty crazy. And then we got Feral Ghoul, 3 mana, 2/2 with Menace. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. When it dies, each opponent gets a number of rad counters equal to its power. What is this? A rad counter. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, mill that many cards for each non-lane card milled that this way, lose 1 life and a rad counter. Okay, so I guess you get, as you mill non-lands, you get rid of the rads. So that seems an interesting space. Then we got Hail Caesar as the next deck. It is a red, white, and black deck. And then, holy cow, so many things. When you attack, you may sack another creature. When you do, choose 2. Oh, it's a create 2 1/1 red and white soldiers that have haste and are tapped and attacking. You draw a card and lose 1 life. And the last one is, what is this? Deals damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target opponent. Interesting. Four mana, 4/4. So I don't know. Some of these cards just seem a bit, I don't want to say pushed, but. And then we got Gary Clone. It's a 2 mana 1/3 with squad 2. So you can pay extra mana to get extra copies. And then when it attacks, each creature you control named Gary Clone gets 1/1 and not 1/1. 1+1/+0 until end of turn. So I guess if you get a whole bunch of them, they get really pumped up big. Next up is Science. It's a blue, white, and red deck. It focuses on high-tech energy weapons, science, synths, and pre-war robots. And then Dr. Madison Lee. 3 mana, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white. And for 2/3, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get an energy. So they've brought back energy. You can tap and pay 1 energy. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample and haste. Pay 3 energy, draw a card. Pay 5 energy, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So it's interesting. This is probably the only way they bring back energy in a somewhat meaningful way, is like in a commander product, where if it gets out of hand, you can kind of, I don't want to say rule 0 it out, but you can kind of like, you have a self-correcting system where if a person gets too far ahead, then you just have like a arch enemy situation where the three other players just try and pummel the person ahead back to them. So then we got Rex Cyberhound. It's a 3 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white, and 1 blue for 2/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, mill 2 cards and get 2 energy. Pay 2 energy, choose target creature card in a graveyard, exile it with a brain counter. Activate only as sorcery. Rex has all activate abilities of all cards with exiled with brain counters. So that's interesting. So we got collector boosters again. I think this is kind of interesting way of doing things. I wasn't a fan originally of the thought of collector boosters for just a set of commander decks, but the way it kind of seems with Doctor Who, it's not. If it's very similar for Fallout, I don't think it will be a problem. I think it's going to be a bit weird with these collector boosters with like almost all rares, but it just means that a lot of them aren't going to be very pricey rares. Like a lot of the rares are going to be $1 or less, and you're not going to have that like mega hit, or you're going to have a lot of like moderately valuable cards, like nothing super crazy. You're not going to have you're going to have your serialized as the big chase if they kind of are worth money. I don't know. I'm still not sold completely on serialized being this great big thing, being hugely valuable, because I think they're a bit hard to move to some extent. But so they're coming out with new treatments. So we got Showcase in the Pip-Boy treatment, and that's found on 26 cards. Apparently 9 are reprints with alternate card titles and new art, so I guess that will be the similar like reskin type things to like Godzilla. So we got the Dog Meat and the Wise Mothman here. I think these look interesting. Because there's 26 of them. I don't think any of them will be hugely valuable in like it looks like they're doing the non-foil, traditional foil, and surge. So I think for the most part it's going to be similar value-wise to like the Doctor Who, where like a lot of the doctors aren't worth a whole lot. Then we got Caesar Legion's Emperor, Dr. Madison Lee. They're coming out with some borderless reprints that can only be found in collector boosters as well, which is interesting. There's only 9. So depending on the drop rate, these could be worth something, or they could be worth hardly anything. If it's like 1 per pack, it's not going to be that good for any of these to be worth anything. But so we got Arcane Signet and Crucible of Worlds, and then we have Soul Ring and Wasteland. So pretty decent, if that's at least. Hopefully these aren't the four best reprints out of the 9. Because they seem interesting looking. at least. And then they can be in, again, non-foil, traditional foil, and surge. And then we have some full art basics. I'm not a big fan of the like. It's cool having basics for each different thing, but it's just, I don't know. I think it works if it speaks to you, but for me, I'm kind of burnt out on full out art basics, but I think that's just me. So they do look kind of neat. I think I'd have more of a feeling if I played the game, but since I've never played the game, these don't really mean, like, none of this, the scenes make any sense to me. So, and as usual with collector boosters, we got extended arts in non-foil, traditional foil, and surge. And then they are doing 7 serialized cards out of 500 again. So they are bobbleheads. I guess that's something important in the game. They got Intelligence Bobblehead. It's a 3-mana artifact that is a mana rock, basically. And has the extra ability of 5 and tap. Draw X cards where X is the number of bobbleheads you control. So that could be pretty strong if you could, like, copy it, or depending on what the other bobbleheads do. It could be an interesting card. And then we got, what is here? We got Alpha Deathclaw, 6 mana, 4 black and a green. Menace Trample. When it enters the battlefield or becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. Wow. That seems pretty crazy with it's not when it's cast, so it can be flicked. Although it's like green and black isn't really the colors of blink or flick, but still pretty decent looking. We got the command tower. Then we got Vats. It's a 4 mana, 2 and 2 black. Split second. Choose any number of target creatures with equal toughness. Destroy the chosen creatures. So that's interesting because it's could be a one-sided wrath. More than likely not, but you could get away with at least doing a number on your opponents and keeping your stuff alive. Then we got, what is this? Over encumbered. 1 and white. Enchant opponent. When it enters the battlefield, enchanted opponent creates a clue, food, and junk token. At the beginning of combat on opponent's turn, that player may pay 1 for each artifact they control. If they don't, creatures can't attack this combat. Nuka Cola vending machine, 3 mana for an artifact, 1 and a tap. Create a food token. Whenever you sack a food, create a tap treasure. So that could be pretty interesting with something, I think, like the Academy manufacturer. And then we got Radstorm. It's a 4 mana, 3 and a blue storm, proliferate. So that could be pretty crazy because storm is usually a card that I underestimate. And then proliferate also can be something that I look at and go, okay, well, I guess I just look at it and go, okay, it's going to do less than what I'm thinking it would. And then in the right setup, it can do a lot. So, and then we got Mr. House, President, and CEO. 3 mana, 0/4, a red, a white, and a black. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher, create a 3/3 colorless robot artifact token. If you rolled 6 or higher, instead create a token that's a treasure. Four mana and tap. Roll a 6-sided die plus an additional 6-sided die for each mana from treasures you spent to activate this ability. And then you got one of the sagas. So we got Vault 101 Birthday Party. 3 and a white. The first chapter or lore counter. Create a 1/1 human soldier token and a food token. And then the second and third chapters are: you may put an aura or equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. If an equipment is put onto the battlefield this way, you may attach it to a creature you control. So that's interesting because you can hit your pull from your graveyard. So because I find with some of these cards, like, you just dump from your hand, but then you don't have it. So then, like, that doesn't work out that great. But that might be pretty good because you get to at least pull from your graveyard too. So if they've got rid of, just say your Sword of Feast and Famine or something got destroyed, if you can get it back, pretty easy. I don't know, that seems interesting at least. So we got the Fallout details. So the more previews and the debut will be the 20th of February. So like 4 months from now. The release is March 8th, and then the Commander launch party is the weekend of the 8th and to the 10th. So definitely interesting that they give us information this early. The other thing I looked at was the Amazon listings. They put them up, but it looks like they've already started to move the pricing around a little bit. So you have, apparently the collectors are sold out already. And then we have the deck set being $164. It looks like the decks are $45. So a little bit of a discount if you buy the whole set. Yeah, it might be not bad to... I think with Amazon, you get to put your pre-order in and not pay till they ship it. So I don't know if it'd be worth it to just put in a pre-order, go, okay, I'll put in a pre-order, and then if it turns out I don't like it, you just cancel. I don't know how that works. But I think some people have said that it works like that, so. Just seems like these Universes Beyond ones just bounce around and they tend to move up nearer to release, so might be something to consider. But another interesting product, I think I'm gonna end up buying some of the decks, and like most products, at least one of the collectors, maybe a second one for the shelf. I guess we'll see. And I guess my question is are you looking forward to Magic the Gathering Fallout? And are you planning to buy any of the products? And thanks again for stopping by and watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.